Max Verstappen is ninth in the F1 World Championship, a four-time world champion sitting behind an Alpine, a Haas, and both Racing Bulls drivers. Red Bull have scored just 16 points in 3 races, and now Verstappen himself is openly talking about walking away from Formula One entirely. Here is why the greatest driver of his generation might not be on the grid in 2027.
So, 9th place. I mean, just think about that for a second. After 3 races, the defending champion is looking at the rear wings of nearly half the grid. This isn't just a bad start. For a team like Red Bull, this is a massive crisis. And it all starts with the car itself.
And that's coming straight from Max himself. You know, this isn't some minor complaint about a bit of understeer. This is a driver who sounds like he has zero faith in the machine he's driving. So what has actually gone wrong with this RB22?
Well, the issue with this Red Bull seems to be really deep, a fundamental problem. Sources inside the team are saying the new Ford engine is actually fine, right on par with the Mercedes. So it's not a power issue. The problem, it seems, is baked right into the car's DNA. The RB22 has these really bad balance issues, which makes it slow pretty much everywhere. And it absolutely destroys its tires. All signs are pointing to one culprit: the chassis.
So what is a chassis? Well, in simple terms, it's the skeleton of the car. It's the core frame that everything else, the suspension, the bodywork, attaches to. It basically defines how the car is going to behave, and it's a big deal. Even the team boss, Laurent Mekies, has come out and said they have significant shortcomings with the whole package. And here's the key thing to understand. A problem with the chassis is way, way harder to fix than a problem with the engine.
Yeah, think about it like this. An engine is, well, it's a component. You can often improve it with software updates or work on its reliability. But the chassis, that's the car's fundamental architecture. To fix a major flaw there mid-season, you're often looking at a complete redesign. We're talking months of work, and that's a huge problem under the cost cap.
So that leads to a huge question for everyone back in Milton Keynes. And it's not just about engineering, because while they're trying to figure out the car itself, the driver is dealing with something just as important: his trust in the machine.
Right, so let's shift from the car to the driver. Because a car you can't predict doesn't just cost you lap time. It breaks the one thing a driver needs most: confidence. Verstappen has been really open about it, saying he cannot lean on the car. And if you saw his onboard camera at Suzuka, you know exactly what he means. He was constantly making these little steering corrections, just fighting the car to get into turn 1. That's a classic sign of something called rear instability.
Okay, so rear instability. What does that mean? It's when the back of the car just won't follow the front in a predictable way. It feels loose, like it's about to spin out from under you, especially in fast corners. It forces the driver to constantly make corrections, and they can never really push to the absolute limit. And as the 97 champ Jacques Villeneuve pointed out, that's exactly what we're seeing. Max is reacting to the car instead of telling the car what to do.
And the contrast is just stark. Remember, during his championship runs, he called the car an extension of my body. It was completely predictable, an instrument he could play. Now, he's saying every lap is like survival. That fundamental trust between the driver and the car, it seems to be completely broken. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Even if Red Bull manages to fix the car, how easily does a driver regain that kind of trust once it's been lost?
Okay, so we've got a broken car and a driver who can't trust it. Let's look at what that actually means in the championship, because the numbers are pretty brutal.
After just 3 races, Verstappen is way down in 9th place, with only 12 points. To put that in perspective, the leader, Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli, is already at 72. That's a 60-point gap, already. And with the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix canceled, the calendar is shorter, at just 22 races. That means there are fewer chances to make up that kind of ground.
It's a massive mountain to climb. And for the team, it's just as bad. Red Bull is tied with Alpine on 16 points in the constructor standings, but they're actually sitting behind them in the rankings. The reason for that is a rule called countback.
It's a pretty straightforward tiebreaker. If 2 teams are level on points, they look at who has the best results. So who has more wins, then more second places, and so on. Right now, Alpine's best result is better than Red Bull's, so they get the higher position. It might seem like a small thing, but it really shows just how tough their start to the season has been. So with 19 races to go and a 60-point gap to close, you start to wonder, at what point does a championship fight stop being a possibility and start becoming a mathematical impossibility?
Now, this 5-week break gives every team a chance to regroup. We'll see who's made the most of it at the Miami Grand Prix, and you can catch all the coverage right here on Pit Crew TV. All right, So a bad car and a championship that's slipping away, that's bad enough. But there's another layer to this story, and it's a huge one. The rumors that Verstappen might actually be thinking about walking away from F1. Multiple reports are suggesting that he's seriously considering retiring at the end of the 2026 season. Now, to be clear, nothing is confirmed, but this is a very real story that's gaining momentum in the paddock.
And here's why it's so complex. His contract runs all the way to 2028. But he's been very clear in the past that he won't stay in the sport if he's not competitive. He's also got a young family now and has talked about his priorities outside of racing. For him to walk away mid-contract at age 28 would be massive, and for Red Bull, losing their superstar driver would have huge commercial consequences.
So it presents this really interesting question, right? Is this a genuine thought about retirement? Or is it a very clever, high-stakes move to put maximum pressure on Red Bull to fix this car and to fix it now?
And that brings everything into focus for the next race in Miami. Because of all this, it's not just another race on the calendar. For Red Bull and for Max, this is a huge test.
And because the calendar shifted, they've had this long 5-week gap since Japan, 35 days. In the world of F1 development, that is a lifetime. Laurent Mekies himself called it crucial extra time to sort things out back at the factory. And Miami is the perfect place to show what they've done, because it's a sprint weekend.
The sprint format, what is it? Well, it's intense. You only get one 60-minute practice session to get the car set up right. After that, you've got a sprint qualifying, the sprint race itself for some extra points, then the main qualifying, and finally the Grand Prix. It's a huge pressure cooker, but also a huge opportunity if you get it right. So the big question for Red Bull is this: is 5 weeks really enough time to fix a problem that's built into the very core of the car, or are they just patching things up until the big summer upgrades can arrive?
So let's recap. The RB22 chassis is fundamentally flawed. The driver has lost trust in his car, the championship is already slipping away, and retirement has become a real possibility. Miami is the first big test of any potential recovery. You've got the broken car, the broken trust, and the vanishing title. It's all created this perfect storm. And the question now isn't just about winning the next race, it's about whether Max Verstappen wants to keep racing at all.
So, let us know in the comments. Do you think Verstappen finishes 2026 with Red Bull, or does something break before December? And to see how this all unfolds, make sure you subscribe for our complete coverage of the Miami Grand Prix.